What is up, guys? Delboy here. So Anthony Yarde seems keen on getting in the ring with Sergey Kovalev sooner rather than later. Anthony Yarde does have a fight scheduled on the 23rd of February. He was actually supposed to fight Mehdi Amar. Mehdi Amar recently fought Alexander Vodzik for the WBC interim light heavyweight title, and I felt that was a good step up for Anthony Yarde. However, Mehdi Amar has pulled out with an injury, and now Anthony Yarde is fighting a guy called Travis Reeves. Travis Reeves, another low-level opponent, unfortunately. 17 wins, 3 defeats, 2 draws. Only 7 of his 18 wins come by way of knockout. Travis Reeves has also been stopped twice, and he is 38 years old. Travis Reeves' best win is over Larnell Bellows. Larnell Bellows, I believe, trains out of the Mayweather gym, but Larnell Bellows isn't any great shakes. So another low-level opponent for Anthony Yarde. I'm disappointed that Mehdi Amar's pulled out, but still, it's a poor replacement, and this opponent does not mark a step up in competition for Anthony Yarde. However, Anthony Yarde has come out and said he is confident of beating Sergey Kovalev, and he and his team seem to be pushing towards getting that fight sooner rather than later. Here's what Anthony Yarde said about Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev regained the WBO world title over the weekend with a strong performance, but as far as I'm concerned, him holding the belt is just a temporary arrangement, and it will be in my hands before too long. My time is coming, but the next fight is always the most important, and for now, my focus is just getting the job done in Leicester. Anthony Yarde's promoter, Frank Warren, actually said, "This fight is about Anthony Yarde making a case for a world title shot and showing us that he's all ready to take that next big step. The light heavyweight division is right up there with the strongest in world boxing, and Anthony is in a great position to make his entry into the elite, and I firmly believe he's got what it takes." So Frank Warren is kind of indicating that he believes Yarde is pretty much ready for a world title fight. Now, is that the case? Do we believe that? For me, Anthony Yarde jumping in with Sergey Kovalev would be a step up of epic proportions. Sergey Kovalev is a man who's been involved in 16 world title fights. He's been a unified champion at light heavyweight. He shared the ring with pound-for-pound greats and even all-time greats like Bernard Hopkins. Kovalev has a wealth of experience, he's a puncher, he's an excellent boxer, and Anthony Yarde has not been in with anybody in the same stratosphere as Sergey Kovalev, both as an amateur, as a pro, and probably even in sparring. It would honestly be a huge step up, and Anthony Yarde would be up against it. I mean, the thing I don't get, Anthony Yarde, he's actually had offers to fight for world titles in the past. I believe he's had an offer to fight Kovalev in the past, but he never took it. He had an offer to fight Artur Beterbiev, he never took it, and this was only, what, 2 or 3 fights ago. And since he's turned down those fights, Anthony Yarde's level of competition hasn't got any better. So, why is he ready now but he wasn't ready then? His competition hasn't increased, he's not fought any step-up fights, I just don't really get why he's ready now. Are his team cashing him out? Do they know something we don't know? Maybe this guy has a bad chin, maybe his stamina's terrible, or maybe he's just not as good as advertised. On the flip side, maybe this guy is the best kept secret in British boxing. Who knows? Yarde does have punching power, he does have speed, he's a big light heavyweight, he does have things going for him, he's really athletically gifted. For a guy who started boxing fairly late, and for a guy who didn't have many amateur fights, I think he's actually come along really, really well. But I just don't think he has the required seasoning to jump in there with the likes of a Sergey Kovalev, to be quite honest. I would like to see a few interim fights against fringe contenders, guys like Karim Murat, who is a European champion and a former world title challenger. Maybe he could fight somebody like Shabransky, who's fought for a world title in the past, and after a couple of fights like that, then fight somebody like Sullivan Barrera, who is arguably in the lower level of the top 10 in the light heavyweight division, and then after that, once you've had a few fights at that level, then go for Kovalev, then go for Beterbiev and the champions. But Anthony Yarde avoiding any live body before he gets a title shot just doesn't ring right to me. His promoter is Frank Warren. Frank Warren has been a master at guiding fighters and giving them the right step-up fights at the right time, and Yarde hasn't had those type of fights. Warren chucking in Yarde with somebody like Kovalev just goes against his track record of being a promoter and guiding prospects. It doesn't really match up. Maybe Anthony Yarde's team and Frank Warren know he has flaws, and potentially they could be exposed before he even gets to world level, so they're going to chuck him in with Kovalev and take a gamble. Anthony Yarde does have punching power, he does have good speed, decent body puncher as well. If Yarde can catch Kovalev clean and on the chin, maybe Yarde can pull off the upset, and maybe that's what they're banking on. Maybe they just see it as a risk worth taking. But if you followed Anthony Yarde's career and you followed how Frank Warren manages prospects, they don't match up. Something is off here. I know it. Something's off. And the weird thing is, you never hear about sparring stories from Anthony Yarde. Never. Everything in that camp is very tight-lipped. Nothing gets out. And is that for a certain reason? Is this guy a glass cannon? We will find out if he fights Kovalev. If Anthony Yarde goes in there and knocks out Kovalev and gets the win, he gets all of the credit in the world from me, because that would be a tremendous win. But it's a very risky strategy to put an inexperienced guy like Anthony Yarde in with a experienced puncher like Kovalev. We will see how it pans out. Share your thoughts below. Peace.